This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. How can you free up your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders to not only streamline purchasing, but better support their teams so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more about the technology, insights, and support available at amazonbusiness.com.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
All right, so you're gearing up for a job interview. You want to, totally nail it.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Today, we're doing something a little different.
That's right.
Think of this deep dive as having your very own interview coach right here in your ear.
I like that very own interview coach.
We're going to unpack some seriously cool psychological tricks to help you win over any interviewer.
Absolutely.
And to break it all down, we have an absolute expert.
Oh, you.
Who has given almost 500 presentations on job searching and interviewing.
I think it's a little more now.
So they definitely know their stuff.
Been there, done that.
I was lucky enough to be at your presentation for the Breakfast Club a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one.
And you had everyone just captivated.
It's a great group.
Especially with that story about the woman who accidentally doubled the price of her jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
And then sold out her entire stock.
That always gets people.
So what is the secret sauce?
Wow.
How can we use psychology to just ace an interview?
You know, it's all about influence. And I think influence sometimes gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because people think of it as manipulation.
Right.
But it's not really.
Okay.
Influence is about persuasion. It's about guiding someone to make a decision that's beneficial for both of you.
Okay.
And in the context of a job interview, it's about subtly guiding the interviewer towards saying yes to you.
I like that.
Right.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
It's exactly that.
Okay.
It's about framing your responses in a way that makes sense to the interviewer and that makes them want to hear more.
Okay, so give us an example of that. How can we frame our answers in a way that's more persuasive?
Sure. So let's say you're in line at the copy machine.
Okay, familiar territory.
Right. And someone cuts in front of you, just walks up, makes a copy, and walks away. What's your reaction?
Oh, I'd be so annoyed.
Right. You'd probably be thinking, like, who does this person think they are?
Totally.
Now, imagine the same scenario, but this time the person says, hey, I'm so sorry, but my boss needs this copy, like, right now. Would you mind if I go first?
Okay, yeah, that makes a difference.
Right, because they've given you a reason for their action.
That's understandable.
Exactly. And it makes them seem more human, more relatable, and you're more likely to be okay with it.
I get it. So it's about providing context and justification for what we're saying.
Exactly. And you can apply this same principle to job interviews.
Okay, so how do we apply this to, like, answering those typical interview questions?
So instead of just stating facts or giving one-word answers, think of every answer as an opportunity to tell a mini story.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, a story that supports your skills and experience.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of just saying, yeah, I increased sales by 10%,
All right.
you could say something like, I noticed that our sales were lagging in a particular region, so I took the initiative to analyze the data, identify the problem, and come up with a new strategy. And as a result, we saw a 10% increase in sales.
Oh, so it's like giving them the behind the scenes.
Exactly. You're painting a picture, you're showing them the why behind your actions, and that makes you much more memorable.
Okay, so storytelling is key. Absolutely. People connect with stories.
Yes.
They remember stories much more than they remember just bullet points on a resume.
That makes sense.
So yeah, use storytelling to your advantage.
I love that storytelling for the win.
There you go.
So what is the next psychological principle that we can use to ace these interviews?
Well, let's talk about reciprocity, which is this idea that people are more likely to do something for you if you've done something for them first.
Okay, so like karma.
Yeah, like karma.
Goes around.
Comes around. Exactly. There was actually the study where researchers sent out holiday cards to a bunch of complete strangers.
Okay.
And guess what? A lot of those strangers sent cards back.
Really? Just because they got one?
Just because they received one first. It's like this innate human desire to reciprocate kindness.
That is so interesting.
So how does this apply to job searching?
Yeah.
Well, when you're networking, when you're helping people out in your network, offering advice, making introductions, sharing resources, people remember that. And when you need a favor down the road when you're looking for a job, they're more likely to reciprocate.
So it's all about building those genuine relationships.
Exactly. It's not just about collecting business cards or LinkedIn connections.
Right.
It's about building real relationships with people,
I like that.
being helpful, being supportive, and being someone that people want to help in return.
Okay, so we've got storytelling, we've got reciprocity. What's next on our influencer checklist?
All right, so this one might sound a little counterintuitive, but
Okay.
hear me out. It's about standing out from the crowd.
Okay, so not blending in.
Exactly, because, as humans, we're kind of wired to follow the herd, especially when we're uncertain.
Right, safety in numbers.
Exactly. Think about it when you're looking for a restaurant.
Okay.
Are you more likely to try the one that's packed with people or the one that's totally empty?
Yeah, I'm definitely going for the one with the line out the door.
Right, because you assume it must be good if everyone else is going there. But in a job interview, you don't want to be just another face in the crowd.
Right, I don't want to just blend in.
You want to highlight what makes you different, what makes you unique.
So how do we do that without coming off like we're trying too hard?
It's a good question, and this is where knowing your strengths, knowing your story really comes in.
Okay.
Think about that woman with the jewelry.
Yeah.
What made her stand out? It wasn't just the price.
Right.
It was the story behind it.
Okay.
It was the fact that it was handmade, that it was unique, that it had this kind of like scarcity factor to it.
I get it. So it's about showcasing our unique value proposition.
Exactly. In an interview, you want to highlight those unique skills, those quirky experiences, the things that make you you.
So it's that sweet spot between professional and showing off our personality.
You got it. You want to be memorable, but for the right reasons.
Right. I don't want to be memorable for like showing up in a costume or something.
Unless it's relevant to the job.
Okay, fair enough. But I get it. Don't be afraid to stand out from the herd. So we've covered reasoning.
Yes.
We've got reciprocity.
Yes.
We've got standing out. What other secret weapons do we have?
All right, let's talk about attraction and familiarity.
Okay.
This might seem a little shallow,
Right.
but bear with me. We are naturally drawn to people and things that we find attractive and familiar.
Okay, that makes sense in the real world, but how does that apply to like sitting across a table from an interviewer?
It's about presentation.
Okay.
It's about building rapport.
Okay.
Think about it this way. You see two people standing by a mailbox. One is dressed really sharply. The other one looks kind of disheveled. Who are you more likely to assume is the manager?
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying is like we make these snap judgments based on first impressions.
Exactly. And while you can't control your genetics, you can control how you present yourself.
Right.
So in a video interview, make sure you have good lighting, clean background, dress the part.
So even though it's through a screen, I still got to bring my A game.
You always got to bring your A game.
So it's all about creating that positive first impression
Exactly.
and making sure my Zoom game is strong.
You want to create an environment where the interviewer feels comfortable and receptive to what you have to say.
All right, we've got reasoning, reciprocity, standing out, attraction, and familiarity. What's number 5 on our influencer checklist?
Let's talk about authority.
Okay.
Whether we realize it or not, we're kind of programmed to respect authority figures. I
Right.
mean, it's how we're raised, parents, teachers, that one substitute teacher who terrified everyone.
Oh, I definitely had one of those Mrs. Smith 6th grade terrifying.
Exactly. And there was this crazy experiment where they put a guy in a police uniform in front of an ATM.
What?
And they even put a sign on the ATM saying it was broken and to deposit your money with the officer.
What did people actually do that?
You bet they did. It just shows how deeply ingrained that respect for authority is.
Wow, that's wild.
So how do we use this ethically in an interview?
Yeah.
It's about subtly aligning yourself with authority figures in your field. Did you report to a high-level executive? Were you mentored by a well-known expert? Did you work on a project with a prestigious client? Mention it.
So it's less about like name dropping and more about showcasing those connections.
Exactly. It adds weight to your experience.
Okay.
It makes you seem more trustworthy in the interviewer's eyes.
Like I have a silent recommendation.
Exactly like a silent recommendation.
Yeah, right.
So use authority to your advantage.
Okay, so we've got reasoning, we've got reciprocity, we've got standing out, we've got attraction and familiarity, we've got authority. What is our final secret weapon for influencing the interviewer?
All right, so this one is a classic marketing tactic.
Hit me with it.
But it applies to job interviews too. It's scarcity.
Scarcity, okay.
We tend to put a higher value on things that are rare or hard to get.
Oh, I'm so guilty of those limited time offers when Amazon says there are only 3 left in stock.
Exactly. It creates this fear of missing out.
Really?
So in an interview, you want to highlight what makes you unique and valuable. What are those rare skills or experiences that you bring to the table that other candidates probably don't have?
So it's like I'm a limited edition version of a job candidate.
If you have a specific niche skill set, fluency in multiple languages, a proven track record in a particular industry, make sure you emphasize that.
I like that.
Make the interviewer see you as the solution to their problems.
Not just another applicant.
Not just another applicant. You are the solution.
Okay, so we've got reasoning reciprocity, standing out from the crowd, attraction and familiarity, authority, and scarcity. That is a lot to keep in mind.
It is.
So how do we actually weave all of this together during an interview?
It's about being strategic.
Okay.
It's about being genuine.
Right.
And it's about telling your story in a way that resonates with the interviewer.
So not like spitting out all these buzzwords.
Yeah.
It's about weaving them into the conversation.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's put this into practice.
Okay.
One of the most common questions is, tell me about yourself.
Right.
How do we use these principles to answer that question?
Okay, so instead of just running through your resume like a robot,
Right.
think about what makes you stand out. What are the key highlights of your career? What are those 2 or 3 things that you really want the interviewer to remember about you?
Okay.
And then sprinkle in some reasoning. Why are you passionate about this work? What drives you? What are your goals?
Okay, so far so good. How do I sneak in some reciprocity?
Instead of just talking about what you want from the job, talk about how you can contribute to their success.
Okay.
Mention how your skills and experience can help them achieve their goals or solve a specific problem they're facing.
I like that, shifting the focus from me to we're in this together.
Exactly.
What about standing out from the crowd? How do I do that?
This is where you can share a story that highlights your strengths. Maybe you went above and beyond on a project. Maybe you solved a tough problem in a creative way. Keep it concise, keep it relevant, but make it memorable.
Okay, so that's where the jewelry story comes in.
Exactly. It's all about that impactful anecdote.
I love it. How do I bring in those attraction and familiarity vibes?
Especially in a video interview, it's all about that nonverbal communication, eye contact, a genuine smile, enthusiasm. Those things make a difference.
So even though it's through a screen, I still got to bring that energy.
You got to bring the energy.
Okay, what about authority?
If it's relevant, subtly mention those connections to big names in your field.
Okay, and last but not least, scarcity.
Emphasize those unique skills or experiences that make you a rare find.
Okay.
If you have a particular expertise that's in high demand, let them know you're bringing that to the table.
I am the solution to your problem.
You are the solution.
So we've basically turned tell me about yourself into like a master class in influence.
That's right.
But what about all those other tricky interview questions?
The same principles apply.
Okay.
It's all about thinking strategically about showcasing your value and subtly guiding the interviewer's perception of you.
All right, let's put this to the test. What about that dreaded, what is your greatest weakness question?
Oh, yeah.
How do we spin that into a positive?
Honesty is key here.
Oh.
Choose a weakness that you're actively working to improve and explain why you're committed to growth in that area.
So it's not about pretending to be perfect.
Right.
It's about showing that I'm self-aware.
Exactly.
That I'm always trying to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, for example, you could say something like, I can be a bit of a perfectionist, which sometimes leads to overthinking, but I'm learning to delegate more effectively and to prioritize tasks based on their impact. I've even started a time management course to help me stay organized.
I like that it shows that you're not afraid to admit your shortcomings.
Right.
And that you're taking action to get better.
Exactly. It subtly reinforces your commitment to growth and development.
Okay. We've covered 2 of the biggest interview question landmines.
Yes.
What are some other tips for using these principles to totally nail the entire interview?
Enthusiasm. Don't underestimate the power of enthusiasm. A genuine upbeat attitude can be contagious, and it makes a huge difference in how the interviewer perceives you.
It's like that saying, enthusiasm is contagious.
It is now.
And remember, the interview is a 2-way street.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask thoughtful questions
Yes.
that show that you've done your research and are genuinely interested in the company and the role.
Exactly.
So what kind of questions should I be asking?
Ask about the company culture, ask about team dynamics, ask about opportunities for growth. Show them that you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for the right job.
Okay.
And you're trying to determine if this is the right fit for you.
So I'm bringing the knowledge,
Yes.
I'm bringing the energy, I'm
Yeah.
bringing the questions.
Yes.
But interviews can be nerve-wracking.
They can be.
Any tips for staying cool under pressure?
Practice makes perfect, or at least it makes you feel a lot more confident.
Okay.
Rehearse your answers to common interview questions and, even do some mock interviews with a friend or a career coach.
Okay, so it's like anything else. The more I prep, the more comfortable I'll be when the pressure's on.
Exactly.
And remember, the interviewer wants you to succeed.
They do.
They see potential in you. That's why you're there.
Exactly.
Go in with a positive attitude. Showcase your strengths. Let your personality shine through.
I love it.
This has been seriously insightful.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about how to use psychology to my advantage in an interview. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up this interview coaching session?
Remember, the most important thing is to be yourself.
Okay.
Authenticity is magnetic, and it will help you connect with the interviewer on a genuine level.
So it's not about putting on a show.
Right.
It's about being the best version of myself.
Exactly.
And even if I don't get this particular job, every interview is a learning experience.
It is.
I could take that experience and apply it to the next one.
Absolutely. Take the time to reflect on what went well, what you could improve on, and how you can apply these principles in the future.
This has been so incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure. And if you are interested in job search coaching,
Yes.
schedule a free discovery call at thebiggamehunter.us.
Awesome. Everyone be sure to check that out. So much great advice in this deep dive. And, it's funny, we often think about job interviews as this super formal thing.
Right.
Where we have to be perfect, and it's all about, impressing the interviewer.
It's easy to get caught up in that mindset.
Right.
But you know what I've learned over the years is that it's really more about being human.
Okay.
It's about connecting with the interviewer on a personal level.
Right.
And letting your personality shine through.
So it's not just about showcasing my skills and experience.
Right.
It's also about showing them who I am as a person.
Exactly. Think about it. Would you rather work with someone who's brilliant but arrogant and aloof?
Right.
Or someone who's competent, kind, and easy to collaborate with?
I'd much rather work with someone who's a team player.
Exactly. And that's what hiring managers are looking for, too. Okay.
They want someone who's not only qualified for the job,
Right.
but also a good fit for their company culture.
So how can we show them that we're a good cultural fit during an interview?
Do your research.
Okay.
Understand the company's mission and values.
Okay.
And find ways to connect your own experiences and aspirations to what they're all about.
Okay.
Show them that you're not just looking for a job. You're looking for a place where you can truly belong and contribute.
It's like finding that sweet spot where my passions and their needs intersect.
Exactly. And when you can articulate that connection, it shows the interviewer that you're not just going through the motions, you're genuinely invested in their success.
I love that it's like we're shifting the power dynamic a little bit in an interview.
Yeah.
It's not just about them grilling me with questions. It's
Okay.
about me figuring out if this is the right opportunity for me too.
You're absolutely right. You have just as much power in the interview as the interviewer does.
I like that. You're both trying to determine if this is a mutually beneficial partnership.
Okay, I'm feeling really empowered right now. But let's be real. Even with all this prep and the right mindset, there will always be those curveball questions.
Yeah.
They kind of throw us off guard.
For sure.
So what's your advice for handling those unexpected moments?
Don't be afraid to pause, take a breath, and gather your thoughts.
Okay.
It's better to take a moment to formulate a thoughtful response than to just blurt out something you'll regret later.
So it's okay to say something like, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment."
Absolutely. It shows that you're composed and thoughtful.
Okay.
And if you're really stumped, don't be afraid to ask for clarification or to rephrase the question in a way that you can better address.
Okay, so I can take a little bit of control back,
Exactly.
and it takes the pressure off.
Exactly. Remember, the interview is a conversation, not an interrogation.
Right.
It's about connecting with the interviewer,
Mhm.
showcasing your strengths, and figuring out if this is the right fit for both of you.
This has been a game changer. I feel like I have a whole new arsenal of tools and strategies to approach my next interview with confidence.
That's great to hear.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the art of influencing the interviewer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening out there, good luck with those interviews. You got this. And remember, if you want to learn more,
Yeah.
you can check out our guest's website
That's right.
for some seriously awesome job search tips.
We've got a ton of resources there.
I feel like after this deep dive, I am so ready to go out there and crush my next interview.
That's what we like to hear.
But before we sign off, any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
You know what I'd say? Just remember to be yourself. Authenticity is so important in an interview. You want the interviewer to see the real you.
So it's not about putting on a facade.
Right.
It's about letting my personality shine through.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the right company, the right job will appreciate you for who you are.
That's a great point, and I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I agree.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this incredible deep dive into the art of influencing the interviewer.
It was my pleasure.
And for everyone listening out there, go out there and rock those interviews.
You got this.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.